Hi y'all, it's Jordan again. So I got back from my concerts. Oh my God. So much happened, so much exciting stuff happened, so much emotional stuff happened. I'm not even exaggerating. This past weekend and the last few days after the concerts ended, I have cried probably 25 times. Like, it's bad. But like really good at the same time. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of do like a little recap of what happened. Oh God. I just can't get over how amazing it was. I wish more than anything that I could go back and relive it every day for the rest of my life, but that's not possible. DeLoreans aren't real, so you just have to keep living your life one YOLO at a time. I just quoted Andy Hurley. Okay, so the first concert was on July 24th, which was exactly a year after my roommate Allison left home. I'll make another video talking about me and Allison's story more in depth, but basically she's my roommate. Fall Out Boy brought us together. She moved down here from Tennessee to live with me and my mom for a while until we could get enough money to get our own place. And I put that all in a note and I gave it to Patrick on the first day. I was super, super terrified but excited but emotional to meet Patrick because he is literally the reason why I'm still here. I'll make another video talking about that as well. I went through a really, really, really dark time in my life, and his music helped me through it, and him just being who he is helped me through it. Reading some of the tweets he's replied to people with talking about depression, things like that. Like, he's just an amazing man, and I didn't get to meet him last year. And last year, I went to Houston, Austin, and Dallas, but I did not have any meet and greets. I did not have any VIP. I did not meet them. I met Pete last year. Me and Allison met Pete, and he gave him my note for Patrick last year, but I never got to meet Patrick, and I was heartbroken last year because I didn't meet Patrick. At the last show, like, we would literally show up at 7 in the morning to the venue, and we'd leave at 2 in the morning. Hoping that Patrick would come out, and he didn't at any of the 3 shows last year, and I was absolutely heartbroken and I was sobbing. It was ugly. And so when we managed to get 3 VIP meet and greets this year, it was the best thing that I could have ever thought about, and I'm still really emotional even thinking about it, so I'll tell everything that happened. Okay, so the first day was July 24th. It was in Houston, and so me and Allison, we go, and we're sitting outside waiting for sound check. Or we're not specifically waiting for sound check, but we're just sitting outside the venue, and all of a sudden we hear the drums to trigger we're going down, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, is that Fall Out Boy sound checking? And all of a sudden you hear Patrick's voice singing, am I more than you bargained for yet? And everyone started screaming. Like, all the girls that were waiting there, it was probably 10 or 15 girls, very small amount, but we started all screaming because it was like Patrick. And I knew that I was gonna meet him that day, and I almost started crying right then, and I hadn't even met him yet. And so, okay, we get in the line, all this, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna actually make a whole Dream Width, I think that's what the site's called, and I'm gonna talk in depth about everything that happened. This is just kind of an overview of what happened, but I'll go more into detail. I'll write everything down so that y'all can actually read every single detail of what happened, because I never want to forget it. So anyways, we go into the first meet and greet. Me and Allison are freaking out. What happens is they put up a backdrop for the pictures, and it's turned so that you cannot see them. And so they're behind the backdrop, and the line goes around. So what you do when it's your turn, you go around the backdrop, and that's them right there. And you don't see them until then. And so you're waiting in line, and so it was me and Allison right behind me, and I was like, I'm fine, I'm not gonna cry. And then I just look at Allison, and I'm holding my note, and I'm shaking, and I just start bawling. And I was just so scared. And like, the security guy, he issues me forward, he goes like this, and I was like, took a deep breath, I sucked up my tears. I was like, I do not want them to see me cry. So I go around the corner, and Joe is standing there, and Patrick isn't even looking at me at first. Patrick is talking to Andy. So it was Joe right here, Pete, Patrick than Andy. Patrick was turned to Andy. And I come around the corner, and the only person looking at me is Pete. And so I was like, hi, and he goes, hi. And I just walk right over to Patrick, okay? And my hands are shaking like this. I was holding the note, and I was like, Patrick, and I'm not a stutterer, but in front of him, I was a stutterer. He turns and looks at me, and it was the first time I looked my hero in the eyes. His eyes are the most beautiful things I've ever seen, like, not exaggerating. His eyes are like green blue, like ice, like they're gorgeous. And he just looks at me and he goes, hi. And I almost started bawling again, but I composed myself. And so I went up to Patrick and I said, Patrick, I have a note for you. And he goes, oh, thank you. And so I hand it to him and I said, Patrick, can I have a hug? And he goes, of course. And so he opens his arms for a hug, and I go in to hug him. And while hugging him, oh God, I might cry. The first time I hugged him, he squeezed me really tight, and I whispered in his ear, and I said, Patrick, you saved my life. And he's rubbing my back, and he's talking in my ear really softly, and he says, oh, well, I'm glad you're here then. And I said, seriously, Patrick, I wouldn't be here without you. And he said, well, I'm glad you are. And he was, damn it. And so he would not let me go. And so I decided, I hadn't had an idea for the group picture yet. So I said, okay, I guess it's gonna be a group hug since he won't let me go. Not like I wanted him to, but I don't know. And so I turn, and Patrick's just like clinging to me. His arm is around me like this, and he's like pulling me to him. And Pete's right here, Andy's here, Joe's here. And I'll show you the picture. Picture's right here. And he would not let me go, and it was just really emotional. And okay, my card got full. And so I start walking away, and once again, I feel awful for just talking to Patrick. I was just focused on him, and I knew, thank goodness, I had 2 other dates, because I feel so bad for only talking to Patrick, and he just means a lot, you know? And so then I started walking away, and all the boys were like this, like, where are you going so fast, you know? And I just got so nervous. I was scared I was gonna say something stupid. And so Patrick's like staring after me, and I said, my best friend is coming up, so that they'd stop looking at me, because it was kind of make me a little uncomfortable. And Patrick goes, oh, all right. And he was so excited to meet my best friend, you know? And so that happened. Allison met Pete again, which is her hero. We'll make another video where she talks about what happened at her meet and greets. And so the next day we had Dallas. The concert was amazing, of course. It's always amazing. And so the Dallas meet and greet, we got there, and me and Allison decided to do our picture together that day. And so we we're really scared, of course. We're scared every time. And even though we met them the day before, it was still scary. It wasn't as scary, but it was still pretty scary. And so we're standing there and we're waiting to go in. We tell the guy we wanted to go in together. And so same thing, we walk around the corner and they're there. And I said, I don't know if y'all remember us from yesterday. And Joe goes, yeah, totally. And I was like, yay, I love Joe so much. And so it's me and Allison standing there, and all the boys are like smiling really big at us because they remember us from the day before. And so in my note, right, I wrote about me and Allison's story, and how about we're best friends and how they brought us together. And so I'm standing here with Allison, and I said, y'all, this is my best friend Allison. I said, y'all are the ones that brought us together. I said, Patrick, I don't know if you had time to read my note. And he goes, yeah, I did. And I about cried right there. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah. And he was looking back and forth between me and Allison, like trying to like put faces to the story that he read, you know? And I'm gonna give a link with the whole story, and it'll include the note to Patrick, what exactly I wrote to him. And so I was super emotional because Patrick said he read my letter, and I was in shock. And Patrick goes, "I'm so glad that we could do that for y'all." Or he said you all because he's from the north, but I said y'all because I'm from Texas. And so I was super like excited that Patrick had read my note. And so I was trying to tell them what we were gonna do for the picture, the idea that I had. And so I said, okay, so for the picture, Andy and Allison are gonna be play fighting. Joe and Pete, and I mixed them up. I called Joe Pete and I called Pete Joe. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said Joe and Pete. No, wait. Joe and Pete. I felt like an idiot. And I said, y'all are gonna try to break up the fight. And Patrick, I'm gonna be protecting you. And Patrick goes, thank you. It was so cute. And like, so I put my hand on Patrick's shoulder and I kind of like guide him over to where I want him. And well, how we had the picture envisioned and everything. And so I have Patrick over here and I have my arm around him like this, like protecting him from the fight. And Allison raises her hands like to play fight Andy, and all I see is Allison, and I hear her saying, I didn't come for a fight, but I'll fight till the end. She was quoting Fall Out Boy, and I start cracking up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't think Patrick heard it. And he's like sitting right here by me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I don't think anybody laughed, so I don't think they got it, or they were too in the moment or whatever. It was hilarious. And so I see Patrick's hands go up like this. So I'm like, oh my gosh, is he trying to fight? Like, Patrick, I told you I was gonna be protecting you. So like, I meant like look scared. And like, so, but when we got the picture back, he was looking scared. So here's the picture. It came out really funny and really great, and it has like over 5,000 notes on Tumblr right now, so it's like pretty funny. And so and then I hugged Patrick again because I just love hugging him. And so then I turned to Andy and I kind of opened my arms a little bit. I think he thought I wanted a hug. So I allowed him to hug me and I just like hugged him, and I said, Andy, I said, thank you so much for creating the drum beat to the soundtrack of my life. And I meant in general, but Andy goes, oh really, which song? And I was just like, uh-oh. Because like I meant in general, like all of the songs, and I was just like, Thriller. Thriller has my favorite drums from like any Fall Out Boy song. That and Young Volcano, but the drums in Thriller are my favorite. And so I told Andy that, and he was like, oh cool, and everything. And then I got a hug from Pete, and Joe couldn't hug because Joe has something wrong with his back, so I high-fived him. And then I turned back to Patrick, and apparently Allison had a hurt back that day, and so when Patrick hugged her, she kind of winced and said like, ow. And so Patrick was like to her and said, oh, soft hugs then. And Allison goes, no, hard hugs. And was trying to hug him hard, but he wouldn't hug her back, so he was scared he was gonna hurt her. And so the next hug I got from Patrick was really soft, and it wasn't like a hard hug, and I was just like, dang it. But then like, I was hugging Patrick and I said, how'd you like my note? And he goes, I liked it. And he was like, we're so glad we could do that for you. And he reiterated that. And I hugged him again, and I said, thank you, Pete. I accidentally called Patrick Pete to him, and I was just like, Patrick, 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 and he like leaned back. I think he thought he was hurting me, and I was like, I accidentally called you Pete. And he goes, no, don't worry about it. And he like kind of like hits my arm, like he was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And I was just like, baby. So I felt really stupid. And then the concert that night was once again amazing. Okay, and then the third one gets really, really emotional. On the entire way to Austin, me and Allison are bawling our eyes out because it's the last concert, the last meet and greet. We're not ready for the weekend to be over. Plus we get to see our other best friend Sabrina again, which we met through Fall Out Boy, and we went to 2 of the concerts last year with her. And we get to see her again in Austin, and she has a meet and greet. I bought her a meet and greet, and well, she paid me back, but I bought her a meet and greet. And so we get to see her again, we get to hang out with her again, and we were so excited. And so we were just bawling the entire way there, playing Thriller, playing like all of these other like Fall Out Boy songs that make us emotional, and we were just sobbing really ugly. And so we get to Austin, everything we see Sabrina, and we're so excited. And so we get in the line for the meet and greet, all this. It's Sabrina's first meet and greet. She's freaking out. She's never met them before. She's been in love with them since the very beginning, like, well, under the Cork Street era. And we only got into them, like, really into them the last year in 2014. February 25th, 2014, actually, is the date that I fell absolutely head over heels in love with them. I always loved their music before, but okay, I'm going off track. But Patrick means a lot to her too, but Andy's her favorite. Andy's Allison's favorite. And so I was like, this is gonna be fun. They're gonna be talking about Andy the whole time, and I'm just gonna be sitting there. But it was a lot of fun, and those are my two best friends. And so we're in the line for the meet and greet, all this. Sabrina's freaking out. And so we decide that Allison's gonna go first, I'm gonna go second, and Sabrina's gonna go last. And so, blah, blah, blah. Allison goes through, does her stuff. She wrote Pete a note because Pete's like her hero. Pete's her Patrick. Andy is a huge inspiration to her too. Andy is her favorite, but Pete's like her hero. Because of Gray, because of the lyrics, because they're both writers. It's weird the way she describes it, but yeah, those are her two favorites, is Pete and Andy. But she wrote Pete a note, and it included me in it, and it made me really emotional when she told me what it was about. She'll tell you that in a different thing. But I go in, okay, it's my last time seeing Patrick, like, face to face, and I'm really emotional about it. And I'm not ready for it, you know, because I'm not ready to say goodbye, you know? And so, I mean, I had 3 meet and greets. I cannot say how blessed I am. But I go around the corner, and I hugged Andy. I said, "You rock." They recognized me, of course, from the last couple times. And I hugged Pete. And while hugging him, I told him, "Thank you so much for saving my best friend." And it was really the first words that me and Pete exchanged. And I said, "Thank you so much for saving my best friend." And he goes, "Oh, well, that's a very sweet thing to say." He was so sweet. Anybody that calls Pete Wentz an asshole, you are gonna catch these hands, okay? So, and then I went over to Joe, and it was a reflex because I'm hugging Andy, I'm hugging Pete. I saved Patrick for last because, of course. And so, and then I go to Joe and I raise my hands, and I was, because I was about to hug him, and because you're not supposed to hug Joe because of his back, and I didn't get anywhere near him enough to hug, but I was a reflex, and so I went like this, and Joe goes, "No," and I was just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and I was like cowering. I was like, "Joe, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot it was a reflex." He was like, "It's okay, it's okay." And so I high-fived him, and I said, "Ruby is beautiful, she looks just like you," which is his little daughter. She's so cute, oh my gosh. So then I turned to Patrick, and I was like, "Patrick," and he goes, because he knows, you know what I'm saying? He knows he's my favorite. And so I go up to him, and I got a hug. I got so many hugs from Patrick this past weekend. It was amazing. And so I hugged Patrick, and I said, "Okay, guys, for the picture, I want me and Patrick hugging, looking sideways at the camera, smiling, and then I want the other boys to be doing like this, looking at us." And but they looked at the camera. I told them to look at us, but they looked at the camera. It's okay. And so Patrick like tackles me in a hug, okay? And then the cameraman, like, Patrick will not let me go. Like, he has his entire arms around me, squeezing me. And I was just like cheesing. And the cameraman, while Patrick has a death grip on me, is like this, kind of telling us to move to the side. Patrick like is squeezing me, and he's like pulling me back with him, and he's like pulling me towards him, and then he's moving me back, and he's trying to get in the perfect position, but he will not let me go the entire time. And it was so cute. Like, he was just like pulling me, and like the cameraman is like hesitating, like every second the cameraman hesitates to take the picture, Patrick's squeezing me closer, like each second, and I'm just like beaming. I can't breathe, but I'm beaming. And like, and here's the picture. It's so cute. And okay, and then so this is where it gets super emotional, and I might cry. This is the last meet and greet. And so I turn to Patrick, and I put my hands out like this, and I'm like, "Patrick, can I hold your hands for a second?" And at first he didn't hear me, and he goes, "Huh?" And I said, "Can I hold your hands for a second?" And he slaps his hands in mine, and just, he like went like this. And he's looking me right in the eye, and we're holding hands, and I'm looking him right in the eye, and I said, "Patrick, I'm gonna make it one day. And he goes, "Of course." And just the way he said it, like he knew, like he saw that in me, like he believed in me, like it was nothing, like it was, of course you're gonna make it. And so I got a tattoo of the words "of course." Because like my hero believes in me, and he and I said I'm gonna make it as a filmmaker and an actress. And he keeps smiling, and I said and I want you to know that it's because of you all. And his smile drops, and he goes, "No." He said, "It's because of you too." And he pulled me into a hug, and he squeezed me really hard, and he was rubbing my back, and I was trying to keep it composed, but I started sniffling, and I was just like, the second I left, I started bawling. And I don't know, it was just really emotional, and and like, I don't think he understands how much that meant to me, and I am gonna make it one day, and I just need to make him proud and make myself proud, and I believe in me, and he believes in me, and I have so many friends that believe in me, but the fact that my hero believes in me, it was just like, it means so much, you know. And yeah, and so sorry, okay, and so for the concert, me, Allison, and Sabrina are in the pit, and we're just waiting for them to come on. And in my note, oh my god, in my note, once again, it was about me and Allison's story, and me and Allison's song is "The Kids Aren't Alright," because of the lines, "I'd do it all again, I think you're my best friend." Like, she would take the chance to move down here and to build a life together, and I would accept her with open arms, always, again and again. Like, I would not regret her coming down here for anything, and like, I'd do it all again, I think you're my best friend. And I put that in the note, and I said, Patrick, like in the note that he confirmed he read, I said, if you could perform "The Kids Aren't Alright" at one of our shows, because I told him we're going to the Houston, Dallas, and Austin shows. If you can perform it at one of those, it would be literally the best thing that could ever happen to us, so we could hear that song live. They had only performed it about 3 or 4 times ever since January, when it first came out. And they performed it that night. And so we're standing there, me and Allison, and it was right after Thriller. Me and Allison are bawling already, and we're standing there. We know that Alone Together is next, and we know that the lights go down and the light goes on Pete, and he announces Alone Together. And so we're sitting there, we're standing, of course, dying of heat stroke, but we're standing, and Pete, he does his little spiel, and then he says, "You know what? The kids aren't all right." And me and Allison just look at each other and grab each other and just start sobbing. Like, I have never cried harder in my life. I could not believe that they actually performed it that night, and it was just extremely emotional, and I'm so blessed, you know? I know the song wasn't necessarily just for us, but it felt like it was for us, especially because I said that in the note to Patrick, like, and he read it, and he knows, and we started sobbing again Saturday, because that was the last song. We knew that we wouldn't see them for a very long time, and we cried the entire way out of there. Me, Allison, and Sabrina were like holding each other up, like walking in a line together, like holding hands, and just bawling the entire way out. And it was just like, oh my god. The day was so emotional, but it was one of the best days of my life, you know? I actually think it was the best day of my life, besides the day that my little sister was born. And God, I would give anything to relive it. And like, I'll never get over it. Ever. For as long as I live. And I'm gonna make Patrick proud. And yeah. So I'll include another video talking about like showing pictures and video. For some reason my phone won't connect to my computer right now, and so I can't put all the pictures and video on my camera on the computer, and so it's not working, but I'm gonna figure it out, and I'll make another video, and especially because we filmed a GoPro on most of our trip, before the first concert and after the first concert. Then the thing died, but we have some really good GoPro moments that I'll make another video of. So if you love Fall Out Boy like I do, if you like my content, make sure to subscribe. I have a whole list of videos to do, and like talking about Harry Potter, body positivity, my favorite things. I have some really good ideas, like a whole bunch. And please don't pause that video and look at all of those, because some of them are crazy. I might not do videos on most of those, so I regret turning this thing around. Anyways, basically I'm just a big nerd, music loving nerd with heart of gold. And by that I'm being humble. I'm saying like I'm a good person. Just yeah. If you like me, if you like the way I am, if you relate to me, make sure to click subscribe. And this is the beginning to the rest of my life, and my hero believes in me. So, thanks for watching.